Good day, everyone. For today's session, we're going to talk about factoring general trinomial where a is not equal to 1. I am Mr. Jonathan Piroman, a Mathematics 8 teacher from Ilaya Barangka Integrated School. Para sa bahaging ito, i-define muna natin ano bang ibig sabihin ng general trinomial. So just like what I have discussed in the first part of this, which is the factoring general trinomials where a is equal to 1, ito rin po yung definition na ginamit natin. That general trinomials can be classified into two ways. Namely, the trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is equal to 1, and the trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 1. Wherein yung number 2 ang magiging concentration ng discussion natin para sa session na ito. Now, just like what we discussed in the first part po ng session na ito, which is the factoring general trinomials where a is equal to 1, we call this particular form as the quadratic trinomial. Any trinomial na sumusunod po sa pattern na ax squared plus bx plus c, we call them as quadratic trinomial because the highest degree for this particular polynomial is 2. Okay? Where a, b, and c are any elements of real number, meaning they can stand to any numbers as long as your a, b, and c are within the bounds or within the umbrella of real number system. Okay? Actually, maraming paraan paano mag-factor ng general trinomial. If you will try to browse the internet, there are a lot of ways, a shorthand way on how to factor general trinomials. But in this session, ipopokus tayo sa detailed way on how to factor general trinomials. Okay? So, yan po ang ibig sabihin ng general trinomial. Next one is kailangan nating malaman ano-ano yung mga steps na kailangan nating sundan in factoring general trinomial ax squared plus bx plus c where a is not equal to 1. Okay? So here are the steps. Step 1, find the value of your a and c. Take note that your a, b, and c here are any elements of real numbers. But in our step 1, we need to identify the value of your a and c. For step number 2, we need to find the product of a and c. For step number 3, find the factors of AC. Identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. And our middle term here is the b. Number 4, rewrite the trinomial as a four-term expression by replacing the middle term with the sum of the factors. And number 5, factor the expressions obtained in step 4 by grouping. So ito po yung 5 steps na ito ang ating susundan para ma-factor natin ang general trinomial ax squared plus bx plus c wherein your a is not anymore equal to 1. So again, here are the steps na susundan natin sa mga examples na isosolve natin pertaining to general trinomial where a is not equal to 1. Okay, so let's proceed to our first example. Our first example is factor completely 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. So, gagamitin lamang nating guide yung mga steps na pinakita ko dun sa naunang slide. Okay? Yun ang gagamitin nating guide para makuha natin yung correct factored form ni number 1. Now, our step number 1 there is we need to find the value of your a and c. Please take note that any general trinomial, that takes the form ax squared plus bx plus c, we call them as general trinomial, where a there is b and c are all elements of real number. Now, in this case, our a here is 2, your b here is 5, and your c there is 2. Okay? So, yan po ay elements of real numbers, yung 2 at saka 5. Sa step 1, aalamin lang natin yung value ni a at ni c from our given. In this case, our a here is 2, our c here is 2. Step number 2. We need to find the product of A and C. So, multiply mo lang yung nakuha mo sa step number 1. So, AC is equal to 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. Ganun lang ang step number 2. Step number 3, find the factors of AC. We need to identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. So, para masagawa natin yung step number 3, we need to use the product sum table. Okay? So, in this case, ang ilalagay po natin sa left side ng table ay yung mga factors ng AC na nakuha natin sa step number 2. When we talk about factors, ito po yung mga numbers na ginagamit nating pang-multiply to get a specific number as your product. While yung nasa right side ng table, lalagay natin dito is yung sum nila. In particular with our middle term, which is 5. Later on, malalaman natin ano ang kinalaman nito sa ating sum. Okay? Yung B equals 5. Now, ilista natin yung mga factors ni AC. Ano yung mga combinations na kailangan nating i-check or i-specify. Let's do it in a detailed way, no? Para mas madali nating maintindihan. So, pwede nating sabihin na 1 times 4. 1 and 4. Bakit? 1 times 4 will give you a product of 4. Correct? Pwede rin nating sabihin na 2 times 2. 4 din naman ang sagot doon. So, ito po yung mga correct factors or correct combinations ng na kapag pinag-multiply natin, makukuha natin ang product na 4. So, yan po yung nilagay natin sa ating left side ng table. On the right side of the table, we need to get their sum. Okay? So, 1 plus 4 will give you 5. 2 plus 2 will give you 4. Kaya lang, ang kailangan nating hanapin sa step number 3, identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. Kailangan nating alamin sa dalawang kombinasyon na ito, alin dyan yung dalawang number na pag pinag-multiply mo lalabas 4, pero pag pinag-add mo lalabas 5. Yun po ay itong kombinasyon na ito. Yung 1 tsaka yung 4. Okay? So, 1 times 4 will give you 4. 1 plus 4 will give you 5. Ganun lang ang step number 3. Step number 4, rewrite the trinomial as a 4-term expression by replacing the middle term with the sum of the factors. Now, sa step number 4, babalikan lang po natin yung ating given polynomial. Ang gagawin lamang po natin sa step number 4 is yung ating middle term ay ating paghihiwalayin gamit yung mga terms na nakuha natin sa step number 3. Paano po yun, sir? So, we have here 2x squared plus 1x plus 4x plus 2. Supposed to be, hindi dapat ako gagamit ng 1x kasi x is already acknowledged na 1x yun, na 1 ang numerical coefficient. Pero para mas maging malinaw lang yung discussion natin, makita natin na ginamit natin yung 1 tsaka 4 dito, I decided to use 1x. Okay? So, yan lang po yung step number 4. Paghihiwalayin lang natin yung gitnang term gamit yung nakuha natin correct factors sa step number 3. Now, ano po ang sinasabi sa step number 5? Factor the expressions obtained by grouping. Kung ano po yung nakuha nating expression sa step number 4 ay ipafactor natin by grouping. Paano ba natin ginagamit ang factoring by grouping? Let's do it step by step. So, yung nakuha natin sa step number 4 ay ito. Okay? Ngayon, first group, second group. Kasi dahil 4 na terms ay nabuo natin sa step number 4, we can use the factoring by grouping. Kung ating titignan, sa first group, meron pong common factor. Sa second group ay meron ding common factor. Ang common factor po sa first group ay x. Pag nilabas mo yung common factor nila, you will have x quantity 2x plus 1. Paano nangyari yon? 2x squared plus 1x, there is a common factor of x. So, nilabas natin yung x. 2x squared divided by x, since may 1 na invisible dito, 2 divided by 1, that's 2. X squared divided by x, that's simply 2 minus 1, kung ano yung exponent dito. So, may isang x sa loob. 1x divided by x, any number or term divided by itself will give you 1. Okay? Kaya yan po yung naging factored form ng first group. Next is yung second group, ipafactor din po natin. 4x plus 2, there is a common factor of 2. Pag pinactor mo yan, that's positive 2, quantity 2x plus 1. Paano po nangyari yon? For 4x, after we were able to identify their common factor, which is positive 2, so 4x divided by 2 will give you 2x. Okay? And then 2, positive 2 divided by 2 will give you positive 1. Kasi any number or term divided by itself will give you 1. So, yun na po yung nakuha natin. Ang next naman po natin gagawin is we need to identify the common binomial factor. Aalamin natin yung binomial na common sa dalawang grupo. Yung binomial na meron sa first group at meron din sa second group ay si 2x plus 1. Pag pinactor mo yan, so ito po mangyayari dyan. Ilalabas yung 2x plus 1. Ang matitira sa loob ay si x plus 2. So, nilabas ko ito, pinag-isa, ang natira ay x plus 2. Ulitin ko, nilabas ko ito, pinag-isa, ang natira ay x plus 2. Therefore, ang correct factored form now ni 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 ay equal sa 2x plus 1, quantity x plus 2. So that is our example number 1. Okay, so let's proceed to our example number 2. Factor completely 3x squared minus 5x plus 2. So same set lang ng steps ang susundan natin. Step number 1, find the value of your a and c. So here, your a is 3. Your c here is 2. Step number 2, find the product of a and c. So multiply lang natin ito. So you have here ac, that is equal to 3 times 2, you will have 6. Let's have step number 3. Step number 3, find the factors of AC. Identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. So sa bahaging ito, gagamit lang po tayo ng ating product sum table. Yung ilalagay po natin dito is yung mga kombinasyon ng mga numbers, I should say, na ginagamit nating pang-multiply to get a certain number, which is AC. Okay? And then sa kanang bahagi ng table is yung sum nila, in particular with our middle term, which is equal to negative 5. Okay. Tatandaan lang po dito sa bahaging ito, may kailangan lang tayong konting tandaan. Pagka negative ang middle term natin, tatandaan, if your middle term is negative and your AC is positive, lahat po ng mga factors ilalagay natin dito ay puro negative. Let me repeat that. If your middle term is negative and your AC is positive, lahat po ng ilalagay natin dito ay puro negative combinations ng factors. So with that, unang-una sa listahan natin, negative 1 and negative 6. When you get the product of negative 1 and negative 6, it will give you positive 6. Pwede rin nating sabihin that negative 2, negative 3. Why? Because when you get the product of negative 2 and negative 3, you will have a product of 6. So, ang lalagay po natin ngayon sa part na ito, na kanang bahagi ng table na ito, is yung sum ng mga factors na to. So, negative 1 plus negative 6 will give you negative 7. Negative 2 plus negative 3 will give you negative 5. Kaya lang may sinasabi pa yung step number 3. Sinasabi sa step number 3, na isa pang sinasabi niya, identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. Pag in-scrutinize natin kung anong ibig sabihin nun, kailangan nating alamin sa mga kombinasyon na ito, yung dalawang numbers or integers na pag pinag-multiply natin, lalabas positive 6, pero pag pinag-add, lalabas negative 5. Siyempre, ito po yun. Negative 2 times negative 3 will give you positive 6. But when you add negative 2 and then negative 3, that is equal to negative 5. Ganun lang po ang step number 3. Let's move on to our step number 4. It states there that we need to rewrite the trinomial as a four-term expression by replacing the middle term with the sum of the factors. So what we're just going to do to our step number 4 is to go back to our given, which is 3x squared minus 5x plus 2. Ano po ang gagawin natin kay 3x squared minus 5x plus 2? Yung gitnang term po natin ay ating paghihiwalayin gamit yung nakuha nating correct combination sa ating step number 3. Papaano po yun, sir? So 3x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 2. So, pinaghiwalay lang natin yung middle term gamit ang nakuha natin sa step number 3. So, that is our step number 4. Let's proceed to our step number 5. It states there that we need to factor the expressions obtained dun sa step number 4 by grouping. Okay? Factor the expressions obtained by grouping. At tinutukoy po dito expressions obtained is yung expression na nakuha natin sa step number 4. So, we will get our expressions obtained in step number 4. So, dahil apat na terms na yan, posible na po ang factoring by grouping. Sa first group, kung ating titignan, wala pong common factor yung numbers na 3 and 2 kasi parehas na prime yan eh. But if you will try to check the variables, there is a common factor in the variable, which is x. So, lalabas natin yun. So, x quantity 3x minus 2. Siyempre, magtatanong kayo, paano nangyari yun? So, 3x squared divided by x. So, 3 divided by 1, 3 ang sagot doon. X squared divided by x, so 2 minus 1, yung exponent dito, may isa kang x dito. Negative 2x divided by x, that's negative 2 divided by 1, that's negative 2. X divided by x cancelled. Ngayon po, dito po sa second term, tatandaan po na kapag ang polynomial ay nag-umpisa sa negative term, regardless kung ano po yung sign ng mga sumunod na term sa kanya, lagi po ang common factor niya ay negative 1. Ulitin ko po yun. Pag ang polynomial ay nag-umpisa sa negative term, regardless kung ano po ang sign ng mga sumunod na term sa kanya, ang una nyo pong ilalabas ay negative 1. May common factor siya automatically na negative 1. So, negative 3x, kung titignan po natin yung 3 and 2, wala na po silang ibang common factor. Yung variable, ganun din. So, negative 1 lang talaga yung nilabas natin. So, negative 3x divided by negative 1, that is equal to positive 3x. Positive 2 divided by negative 1, that is negative 2. Ano ang next natin gagawin pagkatapos niyan? So, next natin gagawin, kailangan natin tukuyin yung binomial na common sa first group. Meron sa first group, meron din sa second group. If you will try to check it, 3x minus 2 po yun. Pag nilabas ko itong 3x minus 2, pinag-isa sa kaliwa, ang matitira po sa loob ay x minus 1. Ulitin ko, pag nilabas ko yung 3x minus 2, pinag-isa sa kaliwa, ang matitira ay x minus 1. Kaya no, common si binomial na 3x minus 2. Meron 3x minus 2 yung first group, meron ding 3x minus 2 yung ating second group. So therefore, ito po yung ating magiging correct factored form. Therefore, the correct factored form now of 3x squared minus 5x plus 2 is now equal to 3x minus 2, x minus 1. So that is our example number 2. Let's move on to our last example. Our last example is factor completely 5x squared plus 4x minus 1. Okay, so same set of steps lamang ang susundin natin, kagaya ng ginawa natin sa example number 1 and example number 2. Step 1. Find the value of A and C. So in this case, your A here is 5. Ito po yun. And your C here is negative 1. Okay? Step number 2, find the product of A and C. So you have here AC, that is equal to 5 times negative 1. You will have negative 5. Step number 3, find the factors of AC. Identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. So, gagawin po natin dito sa step number 3 is we're going to prepare the product sum table. So, in that case, you will have here factors of AC equals negative 5. Ang sum ay lalagay natin sa right side yung mga sum nila. But in particular with B equals 4. Now, ano-ano po yung mga factors or combinations ng numbers o pares ng number na pagka pinag-multiply natin, lalabas negative 5. Ngayon ganito po. Dahil ang AC natin ay negative 5, sa integers, sa rule ng integers, para makakuha ka ng negative as a product, yan ay dapat isang positive tsaka isang negative ang multiply. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Ibig sabihin, yung ilalagay nating kombinasyon ng mga numbers dito o mga pares ng numero dito ay isang negative, isang positive. Isang negative, isang positive. Correct? Kasi para magkaroon ka ng negative integer as a product, dapat isang positive, isang negative. Malinaw po yun sa multiplication of integers. So, pwede nating sabihin dito na negative 1 times 5. Negative 1 times 5, that's negative 5. Pero, pwede rin mangyari na positive 1, negative 5. Negative 5 din yun pagka pinag-multiply. Now, let's get their sum respectively. Negative 1 plus 5, that's positive 4. Okay? And then 1 plus negative 5, that's negative 4. But then, may isa pang sinasabi yung ating step number 3, which states there that identify which factor pair sums up the middle term. Kailangan po nating i-identify yung dalawang numero na pa pinag-multiply natin lalabas negative 5. Pero pa pinag-add natin lalabas positive 4. Siyempre, ito po yun. Negative 1 times 5, that's negative 5. Negative 1 plus 5, that's positive 4. So ito po yung combination na gagamitin natin. Ganun lamang po ang step number 3. Let's move on to our step number 4. It states there that we need to rewrite the trinomial as a 4-term expression by replacing the middle term with the sum of the factors. Na sa kaso pong ito, babalikan lamang po natin yung ating given. So that is 5x squared plus 4x minus 1. Okay? In this case, paghihiwalayin lamang po natin yung middle term gamit yung nakuha nating kombinasyon doon sa step number 3. So that is 5x squared minus 1x, pero pwede po yung x lang. Kaya ko lang pong ginawang negative 1x para mas malinaw na nating makita na ginamit natin yung mga combinations na nakuha natin sa step number 3. 5x squared minus 1x, ito po yun, plus 5x minus 1. Ganun lang ang step number 4. Let's proceed to our step number 5. Factor the expressions obtained by grouping. Yung nakuha natin sa step number 4 ay ating ipapactor gamit ang grouping. So ito po yun. 5x squared minus 1x plus 5x minus 1. First group, second group. Sa first group, wala pong common factor yung 5 and 1 kasi relatively prime sila. Okay? Now, if you will try to check x squared and x, there is a common factor of x. Pag nilabas po natin yan, x quantity 5x minus 1. Paano po yun? 5 divided by 1, that's 5. X squared divided by x, that's simply 2 minus 1, may isa kang x sa loob. Negative 1x divided by x, that's negative 1. Why? Cancel yung x, kasi same term lang yan, then copy negative 1. Ngayon, dahil wala naman, so sa second group, 5x minus 1, yung 5 tsaka 1, wala pong common factor. Kagaya po nung naunang grupo. Wala rin pong common factor yung variables. In other words, siya na po yung kukuhanin natin. Okay? Now, i-factor natin yung common binomial factor. Ano po yung binomial na meron sa first group, meron din sa second group. So, lalabas natin si 5x minus 1. Ang matitira po sa loob ay x plus 1. Paano po nangyari yon? Nilabas ko si 5x minus 1. Nilabas ko si 5x minus 1. I put it here on the left side. So, x plus, bakit po nagkaroon ng 1 dyan? Yung proseso po kasi ng paglalabas ng common binomial factor is by the use of division. So, x quantity 5x minus 1, pag dinivide mo yan dito, cancel yan. X ang matitira. Positive 5x minus 1 divided by 5x minus 1, that's 1. Positive 1. Why? Any number or group or term divided by itself that is equal to 1. Therefore, the correct factored form of 5x squared plus 4x minus 1 is equal to 5x minus 1 quantity x plus 1. So that is our example number 3. Naway marami kayong naintindihan at naunawaan sa ating factoring general trinomials for a is not equal to 1. Actually, marami pong pamamaraan sa internet kung papaano po mag-solve ng general trinomial. But then, pinili ko pong gamitin yung detailed way. But if you want to explore, you can check on the internet or in other references. Marami pong mga iba't ibang pamamaraan, creative way on how to factor a general trinomial. Again, I am Mr. Jonathan Piroman, a Mathematics 8 teacher from Ilaya Barangka Integrated School. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat.